Awesome. Thank you. Oh, is this one on? Got it. Awesome. Yeah, so thank you so much for the kind introduction. Yeah, I got 10 minutes today to chat with you all, and we're going to demystify AI in its entirety. We're going to leave here, and we're all going to know exactly how to fully unlock that value. Not quite, but I'm super excited to talk to you and super excited to be here early in the week to kick off with all of you. I think I've heard so much about this summit to the point where I think I'm like an email insider fanboy from the outside. So now I finally get to be a part of the community and just all of the connection and the content and the cocktails. I've heard it's all amazing. So super excited to connect with everyone to the point where I got on the shuttle to come over today. And the shuttle driver said, you know, big day today. And I was like, I know. Like, it started launching into, like, what's going to be happening at Email Insider Summit. And he was like, I was talking about the national championship in the total eclipse, but, like, totally. So, but, yeah, super excited. And, yeah, just ready for us to dive in. So before I do, a little bit of my background. I've been with Iterable for just about 2 years as a principal value consultant. What that really means is I'm working with prospective customers all the way to our existing install-based customers to really think about what's the way to maximize the return on investment that they're getting out of Iterable. So what are all the product features and use cases? How do we actually align that to your business goals to make sure that we're truly delivering value for you and for your business? And we do that in a number of different ways, but I think one thing that I've appreciated in this role is prior to joining Iterable, I spent about 15 years leading brand marketing and analytics for a number of travel and hospitality companies. So spent about 10 years at Vail Resorts, and then the last few years at a fast casual noodles and company. So I know firsthand the experience and the challenges that can come with buying a technology where maybe what you actually get isn't matching with what you were hoping to. And how do you think about what's at the core, which is understanding the use cases, the applications, to truly define how you're going to get success for your business. So before I dive into AI and all the fun things that we're seeing in the market today, just a quick overview on Iterable. So we really are a modern ESP that was built for scale and powered by AI. And what's at the core and what makes Iterable unique and different is we started with a focus on how do we enable customers to activate customer data in real time to provide unique experiences and really get to that individualized one-to-one experience across all of your channels. And I think the track record we have speaks for itself. So we have over 1,000 customers, and we're getting really great traction on bringing on, across all verticals and around the globe, new and different enterprise customers that we're learning from and growing with together. So very excited about the customer base that we have the opportunity to work with, all of whom are using Iterable's email product and then expanding into other channels, use cases, and our AI platform. And I think it's safe to say as we transition to what we're seeing in the AI space that AI is here, right? I think we've all been working with different capacities of AI for a number of years, whether it's propensity modeling and basic kind of black box opportunities there, down to what's now coming on as more generative AI capabilities that have really caused kind of this explosion in the buzz. And at Iterable, we recently conducted a study with marketers that highlighted 91% of marketers are saying that they're using AI in their day-to-day activities right now. So the adoption is there, but we're really early in how companies are using AI. And I think a lot of that stems from there are those surface use cases that we know it's fun to tinker around with copy or all these different chatbots and opportunities that are out there. But McKinsey found in their State of AI report that came out at the end of last year that few organizations are really moving beyond some of those surface level use cases. And it's because it's hard. The top 2 challenges that came back out of that survey were companies are falling down when it comes to having a clearly defined strategy for how are they going to use AI to actually power their business. Technology can innovate quickly, but ultimately how you use it and apply it to your business is where you're going to get the value. And then I think the second component is talent. We're all learning new skill sets and having to rescale ourselves in terms of the day-to-day that we've had in the past isn't the same as go forward. And so how do we keep pace with the rapid innovation in technology, but provide that know-how for where it's going to best impact our business? And that's one of the core beliefs at Iterable, is that the strength of AI and the value of AI comes from this connection of humans and AI. So it's best to think of AI as a tool we have in our toolkit, but ultimately the value of it comes from that strategic, thoughtful understanding of how and where we'll apply it to unlock unique goals for our business. Because what one brand has might be very different than another in terms of opportunity areas or even use cases and needs for a very similar tool set. So that human connection is critical towards unlocking that. And that's where we enter the Iterable AI suite. So Iterable AI has been foundationally designed with a few core principles that we'll walk through in a second, but it's all about making AI accessible and understandable to marketers. I think we've all heard a quote of, AI is not going to take your job, but the people who are learning AI and learning how to use it will. And I think that's one thing that we hold true is how do we make AI accessible and understandable and power our marketers and our community to really take advantage of the power that sits within it. And that comes down to these guiding principles of how we've developed our AI suite. So first is the transparency, and we call it glass box AI. I think this was probably the biggest challenge that I had as a marketer. Was we were working with the early days of propensity and churn likelihood modeling, but I didn't really know what to do with a score outside of change my budget maybe, or a frequency of how often I communicate with you. What Iterable is designed is explainability, and we want to be able to give visibility and insights to why the model is running and providing the predictions that it is, so that you can apply those insights to your overarching strategy. So maybe taking someone to specific content pages on your website is actually making them more likely to be a sticky customer. How do we think about the role that that plays in developing our campaign strategy going forward? The second one is making it customizable. I think a few folks were talking about this morning, but it can't be set it and forget it. The marketer has to have control. And so building into our product features, marketers have controls and inputs that they can actually manage not only the last mile, but create custom predictive goals for their business that allows that propensity scoring to have further impact than maybe what's more of a generic out-of-the-box solution. And the third is integrating the capabilities across our platform. One of the major benefits of Iterable is that it's been built from the ground up with these principles in mind of how do we make this AI capabilities, the features we're developing, easy to use and easy to integrate with proactive recommendations on how you target your audience or how you adjust your copy based on what we're seeing across all of your campaigns. And then the last one is measured. We want to make sure that any features that we're putting into the market are super easy for testing and iteration so that you as a marketer can see what's the impact, the lift that this AI is having on my campaigns, and also how can I showcase this and share that around the organization. And if it's not performing, how do we tweak, how do we optimize, how do we try new things to ultimately bring that to fruition. So what you'll see here is the full suite of the Iterable AI platform. And I think for those who are familiar with Iterable, some of these have been around for a while. We've got our brand affinity, which is really keying into millions of user data points to really assign a label and a sentiment of how does this customer engage with my brand, and use that to target them differently, whether it's frequency or the types of messaging you're sending. But we've continued to add to this suite, and we will continue over the next several years and months, but really always with those principles in mind. And I'll break down quickly just what are these different categories that we have. So audience tools, optimization tools, and automation tools. So on the audience side, I just talked a little bit about brand affinity. That's one that we've had for quite some time. But I think one of the more exciting and newer ones is our predictive goals. And I alluded to this earlier, but predictive goals is an AI capability and a propensity model that you put into the hands of your marketers to be able to set a custom event. Let's say for Redfin is a customer of ours who utilizes our AI on predictive goals. They want to get meetings set with an agent. So it's not your traditional buy or repeat purchase, those types of things, but they use predictive goals to pick up signals for what makes someone who's reading their email more likely to set up a meeting with an agent just to explore buying or selling a home. And they use that and were able to take key insights to adjust their strategy to increase those agent meeting connections by 72%. Another one is optimization. I think this is near and dear to everybody's hearts when it comes to, I think send time optimization is one that's been around for a long time, and that's more of a table stakes. But putting it all together in the power of looking at an individual user and being able to adjust not only the time of day that we send it to you, but how many messages should we be sending you, and setting caps based on when we see you tap out, and being able to be smart and prioritize when and where those caps hit. And then last, channel optimization, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But channel optimization is really looking at it to say, how do we reduce the volumes and the frequency that we're sending with every targeted campaign hitting email, SMS, in-app? How do we think about, at a user level, what are they most likely to engage with, and how can I send that channel at point in time? And then finally, automation. I think this is all about how do we remove that creative writer's block and sometimes where we're just kind of hitting our head on the table of what's the next idea. We've got two core features, one being copy assist, which is really mining all of your data from your campaigns to see what are the optimal, whether it's emojis or personalization points, how do you bring that into your subject lines, to your pre-headers in a way that's going to drive engagement? And then the next one that I'm super excited about, is our next best action. So looking at inactive audiences, we proactively create pools of audiences who need to be re-engaged with email and pull from other campaigns propensity content that we think that they're going to be engaged with. So while it makes the recommendation, it builds the audience, it takes the content that already exists, it also gives you as the marketer that last mile control before we hit send for any edits or updates. So that's kind of the run-of-the-mill breakdown, and I think one thing I wanted to share just as I leave you is a customer of ours, Care.com, who is actively using our channel optimization to drive some really material results. Care.com is a child care platform. For those of you who may not be aware, but I think this is one near and dear to my heart. We actually found our nanny on Care.com, and she is an extension of our family, and we would trust her with our kids and our lives. So Care.com is all about creating trust and customer centricity, and they came to Iterable with a goal of how do we consolidate cross-channel communications and speak relevantly with our customers. And in doing that, we also noted that they wanted to find efficiencies and time savings and giving marketers time to really think versus do. And so what they did was they deployed channel optimization in their targeted promotional campaigns for matching customers with potential care seekers or care providers. And they saw a meaningful lift by actually reducing volumes of how many messages that they're sending, but sending it the right channel and optimizing. So for somebody who's more likely to engage with push and go into the app or getting an SMS, managing that on the back end drove a 30% increase in those bookings for care providers, while also decreasing the time spent on campaigns through that automation, being able to automatically delve out when those triggered sends are firing and across the different channels. And then on top of that, also recognizing material savings when it comes to reduced frequency. So you're not spraying an email, a push, and an SMS with the same message to the same customer. So that's just one example in terms of how we're working with customers along the way. But I would love to chat more with you all. I feel like there's a lot of us who are facing a lot of the same types of challenges and find ways that we at Iterable might be able to help support you. So myself and Mike Fennell will be here for the week and looking forward to chatting all things, whether it's Total Eclipse, Pickleball, or Iterable AI.